Today's CPI print came in hotter than expected at 8.2%, but our senior columnist Rick Newman has found some bright spots in today's report. Rick, we have been asking so many guests over the last 2 hours to give us some good news. No one's been able to do it. So tell us what you think is good in this report.
Well, you have to squint a little bit, but I've been paying a lot of attention to what's happening in transportation. And if you look at what has happened with the inflation rate for new cars and especially for used cars, the inflation rate is actually coming down. Remember when the price of used cars at the beginning of the year, the annual inflation rate was like 45% for used cars, and we were all like, how did that happen? Well, we know now that the price of used cars was surging by so much because there weren't enough new cars. There has been a persistent shortage of new cars available, and that has a lot to do with the semiconductor shortage. That shortage is still there, but it's getting worked out, and we have seen the inflation rate for used cars come down from around 45% at an annualized rate earlier this year. The annual rate now is around 7.5%. I think that's still too high, but at least that situation is getting better. And of course, gasoline inflation has been improving, but it seems like we've seen the end of the gas price decline, and it's probably going to stabilize around $3.90. The rest of the report, there are a lot of things going wrong, and we are not getting the break in inflation that a lot of people have been hoping for.
Yeah, how big a concern is this for President Biden? Said today the report shows some progress against his fight against higher prices. Perhaps you explain what that progress is, but how big an issue is this for Democrats?
Remember just a couple of months ago, Democrats in Congress passed an energy bill that they named the Inflation Reduction Act. I think one of the reasons that they gave it that actually silly name is that when inflation does come down, inevitably it will, they'll be able to say, see, we did that because we passed this thing called the Inflation Reduction Act. It worked. It was like magic. Without a doubt, they hoped they would be able to say that by the time of the midterm elections, which are now less than a month away on November 8th, and they can't. They cannot say that we have meaningfully brought inflation down. I mean, it's down about a little more than a percentage point from the high point it was at over the summer. But inflation at 8.2%, nobody is going to declare victory on that. I guess the one thing Democrats can hope for is that the big decline in gas prices has made people feel a little bit better. That has corresponded with a minor uptick in consumer confidence and a similar small uptick in President Biden's approval rating, but it hasn't gone high enough. Biden's approval is around 43 or 44%. I think for Democrats to have a good shot at holding on to both houses of Congress, Biden's approval would have to be around 50%, even higher, and he just is not going to get there by November 8th. So this is the last inflation report we're going to get before the midterm elections. We are going to have one more employment report, and we're going to have one more Federal Reserve meeting. But everybody now seems to think the Fed is certain to raise by another 3/4 of a point, another big hike coming. So if inflation comes down, it's going to have to come after the midterms.
Yeah, he's going to need gas prices to stay with a 3 in front of it as well. Rick Newman, good to see you, sir. Thank you.